where every word opens a new world. Welcome to the portal of stories.
Some places cannot be found on maps, nor reached by ordinary steps. There are sights that exist only when the soul is ready to see them, and others that reveal themselves to forgetfulness, like a revelation waiting at the edge of silence. This tale is born from that frontier, where time bends and identity dissolves. A story about destinies not yet written, about libraries that breathe among galaxies, and about loves that only exist when they are chosen. It is not just a fantasy. It is a question disguised as a story. What if what we are has not yet been read?
They say that, high on a mountain, where the wind forgets its name, there exists a library that does not belong to this world. Its walls are not made of stone or wood, but of frozen constellations, and its halls change each time a visitor enters, as if they were breathing. There, each book holds a life yet to be lived, written in star ink on pages that glow only in the dark. Only those who have forgotten their own name can find it. Naim was a young shepherd who lived on the lower slopes of the mountain. He had never climbed beyond where his goats grazed, and his world was simple: the sky, the grass, and the stories his grandmother told him. She spoke of ancient pacts with beings of light, of doors that opened in storms, and of the silent chroniclers, guardians of words not yet spoken. But one night, after dreaming of a voice whispering from the sky, he awoke unable to remember his name. "Where am I?" he asked the wind. "Who am I?" The wind did not answer, but blew northward as if guiding him. He wandered aimlessly, crossing forests with silver-leafed trees and streams that whispered forgotten names. On his journey, he met an old woman named Lyra, who wove constellations on a loom of light. She lived in a tower suspended among the roots of a floating oak. "Are you seeking a name or a destiny?" she asked. "I don't know. I just feel I must go on." "Then do not fear. When the name is erased, the right book opens." Lyra gave him a silver thread. "Tie it to your wrist. It will know when to let go. I also give you this, a syllabary of silence. Speak these words only when you do not know how to proceed." So Naim reached a peak he had never seen before. There, beneath a sky deeper than sleep, the library awaited him. At the entrance stood statues of sages with crystal wings. A hooded figure, made of soft shadows and moonlight reflections, greeted him without words. Naim tried to speak, but the figure raised a hand. In its palm appeared a key made of ice and fire. It pointed to the door. "Who are you?" Naim asked. "I am the keeper of what has not yet happened," replied a voice that seemed to come from everywhere. "But today, you are the reader." Naim crossed the threshold, and as he did, the library exhaled a breeze of stardust. The books murmured as he passed. Some called to him. Others ignored him. Some flew between floating shelves, chased by inkbirds. One, however, fell from a shelf untouched. He opened it. He saw scenes he did not recognize, but they made him cry. A different life, with choices he had not yet made. "Is this who I will be?" "It is who you could be," said another voice, higher and brighter. It was a girl dressed in light who had emerged from the pages. "My name is Era. I am the possibility you haven't chosen yet." Era guided him through halls that changed according to Naim's thoughts. They saw a room of mirrors showing possible futures, a chamber where music created images, and a garden where trees grew leaves made of words. They also passed through the Hall of Reciters, where invisible voices narrated endings that had not begun, and the Reverse Sand Hall, where clocks flowed backward and mistakes became paths. Every person has millions of books, Era explained, but only a few can read them as they walk. You are one of them. In a hidden room, they found a living mural that told forgotten legends. One about the Tower of 1,000 Lives, where sages traded memories for years. Another about the River of No Return, whose waters showed untaken choices. And one about the Quartz Bridge, which appears only when one chooses to forgive. "What if I make a mistake?" he asked. "You can't make mistakes," Era said. "You can only learn and rewrite." Naim spent years, or perhaps seconds, reading. He discovered that each choice created a new volume, that every yes and every no generated a possible path, a tome in that immense library. And he understood that no one is made of a single destiny, but of many possible ones. Together, they explored the Chamber of Broken Bonds, where fragments of never-spoken conversations could be heard, and the Hall of Sealed Doors, each holding an emotion inside: fear, desire, betrayal, hope. Naim opened one containing a memory not his own, a dance with Era under a meteor shower. It was then he realized he loved her, not for who she was, but for all she could become. Before leaving, Naim did not want to close the book without speaking to Era one last time. He searched for her in the corridors of future and words until he found her in the Garden of Living Leaves. "I don't want to leave without you," he said, feeling for the first time a void deeper than forgetting. Era smiled, and new stars lit up in her gaze. "I am part of what you have not yet chosen, but I can exist with you if you decide to create me beyond these pages." Naim extended his hand. Era took it, and for an instant, the garden became sky. Then the library did something it had never done before. It wrote a new book before them, one without a title, without an ending. "I will return for you," he promised. "You won't need to return," she said. "Just remember, love is also written." With that promise sealed in the air, Naim left. The world had changed, or maybe he had. The silver thread on his wrist had dissolved into stardust. He carried in his memory a new name, not one imposed, but one chosen. And in his heart, the echo of a voice no longer distant, but a part of him. Since then, they say that on moonless nights, a light can be seen atop the mountain. And if one listens closely, they may hear the crackle of pages yet to be written. Because every life is a book still in progress, and there are those who guard their endings. Sometimes, the greatest journey is not toward distant lands, but inward, toward what could be. Naim was never the same again, because no one returns unchanged from a place where futures bloom like constellations. Love, name, destiny. He found all of it not at the end, but in the middle of a page still being written. Perhaps you too have a book waiting for you atop a mountain, where hallways bend and stardust glows. Perhaps you too are a story yet to begin. And if so, remember, sometimes forgetting is the first step to rediscovering yourself.
Thank you for listening. The journey has just begun. Until next time.